Carragher, speaking about Isak, I like these words, but let me know if you agree with it. So Carragher said, you know what? He didn't score, but he had plenty of lovely touches. When the ball comes into him, you can see the way he turns there. He's really clever. Thierry Henry knows about this better than anybody. He's not just a goal scorer. That's why he's different to Haaland. Haaland's all about goals. He's doing things, turning, getting on the ball. He's a fantastic player, not just a great goal scorer. And we did see a lovely little, I guess, cameo of what Isak is going to be about. And what fascinated me last night was we got to see both of our strikers on the pitch at different times. And I was intrigued to see how they both play the role in a different way. So Isak is obviously more on his shoulder, kind of poacher type of a forward. And look, he does have different levels of a way he can score goals. But with Ekitike, it was almost more he was looking to create and come deep, link up play, drag people out of position, drop into the channels if needed be. And I thought it was fascinating just to kind of juxtapose the two ways that they both play the position and then try to figure out how Arne will utilise that as the season goes on. On Wirtz, there's some nice words from Jeremy Frimpong last night on Florian Wirtz, because there's been a lot said, written and put out there about Florian Wirtz and the start to his Liverpool career. You've liked to Steve Nicol saying that he's not doing the job of setting up like he was brought in to do. But for me, and I think most of you guys from our conversations last night, what I'd seen there was a player progressing every single time. And I thought last night was Florian Wirtz's best performance so far in a Liverpool shirt. Jeremy Frimpong has been speaking about it, and he said, he's just getting started. I spent 4 years with him at Leverkusen, and I know what he can do. I'm seeing that. It's coming. There's a lot more to come from him. And there is. So I think anyone that's doubting Florian Wirtz at Liverpool is going to be eating some humble pie over the course of the season. Frimpong start against Grealish, made 4 assists. I think Ekitike start. So I don't want to give you my predicted 11, but one position that I will give you for my preview tomorrow, and again, I'd be interested to know whether you agree or disagree with this. I want to see Wirtz on the left for this game, and let me explain why. It's not because of anything Cody Gakpo has done or not done. It's actually nothing to do with Cody whatsoever. I think that Everton are going to do what a lot of other teams have done, which is sit deep and be compact and pack out the penalty area and give us space in the wide areas. And for the little 10 minutes we'd seen Florian Wirtz out there last night, I thought it gave him more space to operate. And with Cody, if there's one criticism we may have at times, it's he can be too predictable sometimes, cutting it onto his right foot. He always chips in with his fair amount of goals and assists. And again, this isn't more anything against Cody. It's more that I think Wirtz would give us another option, another avenue. Plus, the other upside of that, by the way, if you were to put Wirtz out on the left-hand side, is that you would be able to get the 3 boys in midfield then as well. McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. Connor said, Wirtz looked better with Isak. Ekitike tends to take up some of the positions that Wirtz likes to use. That's a good point. And Chris made a similar point, Connor, in the podcast. He said that he thought that relationship between Isak and Wirtz looked a very promising one. So I do get where you're coming from. My thought process, as I said, is nothing to do with against Cody or anything. I just think having a different look in that wide area, whether, Wirtz can maybe try to get into the penalty area or he can go around the outside, cut back inside. I just think if we're needing a moment of magic or we're needing something to maybe unlock a low block and a very resolute Everton defence, perhaps giving them a different look with Wirtz on the left might be worth a shout. Ali B said, we will have to be better with teams like Burnley who sit with 12 men in the goal, which includes the coach. It's difficult. It is, because with all the best intentions in the world, when you're playing a team like Burnley who come, sit behind the ball and give you nothing, you're reliant on a few things. Either a cross, a pinpoint cross that finds a man, a moment of magic from the edge of the box or something like that, or maybe a deflection from a strike, kind of a la Llorente's second goal last night where it went off McAllister's heel. Other than that, it is difficult, even for players as well coached and as good as our guys are. It is difficult to find that breakthrough, which is why theoretically, it would have been a relief last night that we got the early goals against Atletico, because it didn't give them the ability to do that, which was, sit back, be compact and try and play on the counter. Burnley didn't even try to play on the counter. They just played for a draw, which made it incredibly tough to break down. Billy said, my friends were telling me Slot should try Ekatike in the left wing. Thoughts? I'm sure he will at one point. Arne has spoken about that himself. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see Ugo Ekatike get games on the left side at one point. That's what I mean about the sheer options now that the manager has. We can talk about Wirtz left, Ekatike left, Gakpo left, Rio left, right back, Frimpong, Bradley. Now we can throw in Joe Gomez and Dominic Soboslai there if needs be. So I'm really liking the versatility and the options that this is going to give Arne against different setups, and I think it just bodes well for the future. Summerpool said Isak won't start Saturday. Slot as much as said he can't do another 60 minutes, or probably start Hugo and bring him on past 20. I think Slot said he can't do 90, but I do agree with you. I think Ekatike starts and then Isak comes on. Just comes on regardless, but if the game's tight and maybe we haven't found the breakthrough, maybe Isak in the penalty area can, find something in nothing. But I agree, I think Ekatike will start and we'll probably see 20-25 at the end from Isak. Right, so what I want to know is, who do you think starts on Saturday? Do you think it'll be Ekatike, Isak, or both? So for me, I would think we're likely to see Ekatike start the game and Isak to get 20-25 at the end for the obvious reasons. He played 60 or 55 last night, and I think the manager won't want to put too much of a workload on him. So do vote in that one and let me know what you think. Will it be Ekatike that starts? Will it be Isak that starts? Or will they both start? Who do you think will score more goals this season, Gyökeres or Isak? It's a good question, and I'm going to say it'll be close, but I think Isak. And the reason I think it'll be close is, obviously, Gyökeres has had a few games ahead of him, but Liverpool are probably going to spread the burden around more. So last year, Salah was over 50% of her goals, had a Salah contribution, whether it was goal or an assist. Now, obviously, we've got Gakpo there who chips in with a few. We've got Ekatike. We're starting to see a few more goals come up from midfield from the likes of Soboslai. It's an interesting question, and it kind of leans into a conversation that we had on the podcast tonight about the expectations and the pressure from the outside world around just the numbers involved. So Wirtz, Isak, Ekatike, they came in for big price tags, and the outside world are going to try to measure them by numbers only, and I think that's where us Liverpool fans need to push back a little bit. We need to win games of football. And I, as a Liverpool fan, could not care less if they all end the season with bang average numbers if we've won the league. It isn't about one player having X amount of goals and assists for me this year. It's about sharing that burden around. So I do think Isak might just pinch it, but ultimately I just wanted to make that point that I don't mind who scores the goals, because bringing in those players is to take that burden off Mo and to share the weight of who scores and assists those goals around the team. Christopher said, Craig, can Hugo play in that pocket behind the number 9? Chris reckons so. Again, it's a subject that came up tonight on the podcast, which will be out at 11 o'clock for everybody. Chris thinks he can. I'm not so sure. I get the point, though, because he does like to link up play. He does drop deep. And he is a very different type of number 9 to Alexander Isak, who is a more typical number 9. But I'm still getting to learn and know these guys as well. But he could do it, but I don't think we'll have a need for him to do it too often. I guess the real question is there any world where we find a way to have them both as central strikers? Maybe with a pivot, like you said. Maybe one of them dropping a little bit deep. But something would have to give them from another position. So would we end up going like 4-2-2-2 to make that happen with Gravenberch and McAllister maybe deeper line behind them?